Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. We're so excited to hear Thom share a really important topic, which is how to handle life where there's addictive foods everywhere you look. And it's a deep dive into element 16. If you want to read further and work more in it, element 16 in the life book is where a lot of the material comes from. And also it coordinates with information in the Habits of Health book. So they go tandem, hand in hand. So anyway, Thom, go ahead, take it from here. And thank you so much for doing this for us.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Every time I present this, which is now twice, I learn something new. And if you ever want to learn something, I recommend you highly to teach it. It's a great way to learn. Hey, my name is Thom Mesrobian, and I'm about to share my screen, and it's going to stay shared for the whole presentation. So you may want to click on speaker view. If you have gallery view on, you can do that by going up to the top right of your window. There's a little thing that pops up that says view. Click on that and go to speaker view, and that's going to help you to see the presentation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's hang on. Got to back out. Share the screen first. All right. And we should be cooking with gas. Almost. There we go. Okay. I started the Optavia program in October 2020, and along with my wife, there she is, Tonya, we became Optavia coaches, and together we are Team TNT. And I'm really happy here to be representing the team to share with you this, what Dr. A and the Healthy Habits say about dealing with addictive foods. Today, we're going to dip our toes just a little bit into that element. And again, it is element number 16 in the life book. And this is a tough topic, and it's one that when you really go into it and really shift your paradigm, it can remake your life and your health. Because this may be news to you, but, and I want everybody to get ready to show me your best shocked face. Some of you, we've rehearsed this, so you should be ready. I want to see your best shocked face when I say the food industry is not your friend. Clasp those pearls, I know, right? I know. But here's the thing. They want us to buy food, right? Obviously, that's what they're in the business of, and then they want us to eat it. But they don't want us to get full, so that we will buy more food, so that we will eat it, not get full, buy more food, eat it. We keep on going. We're never full, never satiated. We continue to buy this and fill our bodies with poison, and we pay for it, both financially and physically. Now, if you need any more proof that the food industry is not your friend, I want to offer you a case in point. This commercial raised a generation.
There is one potato chip that's made so thin, so light, so crisp. No one can eat just one.
No one can eat just one, right? I mean, complete with angelic choir. If you notice the voices in the back, a blonde, adorable cherub there pushing the potato chip into her mouth. Who wants potato chips now? I do. Potato chips are the thing that if I start eating one, I'm going to eat a whole bag. I love to have potato chips when I'm watching a football game or watching hockey, most specifically. I will eat a whole bag at least before the game is over. But, update, on the Super Bowl, I watched the entire Super Bowl and pregame, didn't have any snacks at all. And that was huge for me. So what are some foods that you can't stop? Once you start, it's hard to stop. You can put it in chat if you want to come off mute and say it. That's okay. But what are some things I'm seeing chocolate for Tonya. That is true. That's why I don't buy her chocolate anymore, because that can just go on forever and ever. But for me, it's that crunchy, salty popcorn. That's another one. Pretzels, yes. Cheesecake and pastries. Anything in a bag. I love that, Sharon. Yeah. Salty swears. That's Cindy Vile. Yep, that's perfect. Just kidding. Uh, Pop-Tarts, ice cream. Yeah. Oh gosh, Pop-Tarts. You got to eat two at a time, right? You don't eat just one Pop-Tart at a time. That's ridiculous. No, you eat two. Well, at the root of all of these addictive foods is what Dr. Anderson calls the white powder. It's ultra processed, refined flour and sugar that's found in so much of what the industry puts in front of us, and it's toxic and it is designed to create addiction. Now, I appreciate all of your answers there. That's great. Now I'm going to ask you another question. But this one, I don't want anybody to answer it either by chat. Don't come off mute. Don't raise your hand, because this is an intensely personal question. And you're going to see why in just a second. Okay, here we go. How many of us have ever been through a 12-step program of recovery, attended meetings of any kind, or been through rehab for an addiction of any kind? I told you it was personal, right? Now, the reason that we don't want anyone to answer that is obvious. We don't celebrate this addiction. There's a great deal of guilt and shame that goes along with addictions to alcohol and drugs. So we don't talk about it. We do not celebrate it. But all of that changes when the addiction is food. It's big, bright, colorful, attractive. It provides inspiration. And people post this stuff on their internet and say, look what I ate. Look at this big jar of poison that I had. And it looks amazing. But Dr. A says in The Habits of Health that these milkshakes have the exact same effect on our brain as these things do. Not quite as colorful. So subjects placed on an fMRI machine and scanned show the same parts of the brain are activated both by sugar and cocaine, exactly the same. And this releases huge amounts of dopamine, which then fills us with feelings of pleasure and reward. And just like narcotics, if you continue to eat sugary, refined food, the brain adapts. And then it takes more to get that sugar high. You need more drugs to get that same effect. Now, take a look at this picture. This is that scan. I want you to put in the chat which one you think is sugar and which one you think is cocaine. The one on the left, do we think that's sugar or cocaine? Put it in the chat. I see sugar. Anybody else want to take a guess? You got a 50-50 shot. Sugar. Okay, let's find out. Yeah, it is. Sugar affects the brain exactly the same. And if you look at the scan, it's even brighter. The brain is more activated than on cocaine. Now, one big reason is that it tastes great. It really does. It's supposed to. We were born with a preference for sweets and sugars, and because that relationship has allowed us to survive, the body can safely digest natural sugar. And hang on just a second, just had something dumb pop up on my screen. Can you guys see that? No? Okay, it says software update. Can't see that? Okay, good. Then I'm going to let it go. All right, so the body can use sugar. It needs sugar. But the problem is ultra-refined grains and sugar are not really food. They are substances that are toxic and highly addictive. And here's what addiction does to our brain. It physically changes the brain, laying down neural networks that chemically encourage us to repeat harmful, compulsive behaviors. Number two, addictions interact. One addiction can trigger, replace, or heighten another through a measurable biochemical process. I want you to focus on those last three words, measurable biochemical process. We're going to come back. The good news is that can be changed. Telling our stories, going to therapy, learning and building new habits that can heal the brain in observable, predictable ways guiding through a process of physical restructuring that appears to build and deepen new neural pathways, which in turn create new patterns of thinking and acting. Now, I want to take a second and go to that word, neural networks. That sounds very sci-fi, right? Like a neural network. Well, that's in the future, Data had neural networks in Star Trek, but we have those. Common way to think of them, a good way to think of them, real down-to-earth way, is tire ruts in the clay, grooves in our brain that are formed by bad habits. Habits of disease get in there and they start building those ruts, and the brain gets to connect this with that, sugar with pleasure. And the more we do it, the deeper that rut gets in the clay. But here is something new that I've learned. These tire ruts can physically be changed. They can be seen on scans, physically measured. Remember, measurable biochemical process. These are things that can be observed and measured, and they can be changed. But before any of that happens, the brain has to feel safe in order to begin healing. Now, mental health experts have long understood that the drug addict can't heal while they're on drugs. Abuse victims cannot be helped if they are still in a dangerous and violent situation. The brain needs a safe space in order to heal. And that's why community is not just a good idea. It's one of the 4 basic and necessary components of our program. We create a safe space for mental healing with the community portion of our program, meeting and talking with like-minded people, telling your story. Every story, you get a new perspective. You learn something about yourself that you didn't know before, and that neural pathway gets changed. But that safety, that feeling of safety has to happen first. This is not just positive thinking. This is science, predictable, observable physical and biochemical differences in the brain, and we get to choose if that happens. Now, that's all addictions. But let's lean on one addiction in particular, one that a lot of us in this room can most likely relate to, and that's toxic food. When it comes to toxic food and highly refined sugar, it is everywhere. It's in all of the stuff that we eat. It's in all of those middle aisles of the grocery store. The average American consumes an average of 10 servings of refined grains every day. You throw sugar in there, and that's 150 pounds of refined sugar and grains every year. 150 pounds every year. Now, that's an average. And let me tell you, I was above that average before I started Optavia. I grew up in the South. Growing up in the South, we don't eat till we're full. We eat till we're tired. And this is me, probably around 2019, 2020, at my heaviest. About to walk into a buffet restaurant and stuff my face and eat until I hurt. I said it every time I look at this picture. That's hard for me to look at. But here's the science behind why I did that. Leptin. Now, leptin is a hormone in our body that suppresses hunger. Its job is to tell you to back away from the buffet table. It's released by our fat cells and says, you've had enough. Problem is, when we ingest sugar, it produces insulin. Now, sugar triggers insulin. That's what it's supposed to do. We have a little bit of sugar. The body puts out insulin. It knows what that is. It knows how to digest it. But when we eat a lot of ultra-refined flour and sugar, that's not really food. The body doesn't know what to do with it. So it just throws more insulin at it because it's sweet. It says, oh, the sweet stuff, more insulin. Well, the more insulin you have, the less leptin you have, because insulin blocks leptin. So we eat more sugar, which triggers more insulin, which blocks more leptin, so we're still starving. So we eat more sugar, which triggers more insulin, which leaves us with hunger. For me, this was an unending vicious cycle. It meant the difference between radiant health and chronic poor health. And this culminated for me in the summer of 2020. here while I was pushing 300 pounds, my body riddled with inflammation, my knees diagnosed with bone-on-bone arthritis. I got all kinds of injections for that rarely, if ever, helped. And if they did, it wasn't for long. My back was shot from carrying all that weight up front. And after waddling through a day of work, I'd collapse in my chair, I'd get home, and I would shout out loud because I'm an actor and I'm dramatic. I would say, I want my life back. So I went to my doctor, right? That's what you do. Went to the doctor, saw my blood work. Every important indicator of health was either really alarmingly high or disturbingly low. And the doctor said, you need to lose weight. Cindy goes, that's you? It is me, Cindy. So I said, I need to lose weight. And I looked at that woman and I thought, well, that means I can never have pizza again. I can never have cupcakes again. I can never have any good things. So I looked at that woman with aching knees, broken back, high blood pressure and all. And I looked at her and I said, nope, I'm good. Because I was addicted to food. And the only thing I knew was to eat until I hurt. But after 7 months on Optavia, I lost 90 pounds. I got my life back. I'm now in the best health that I've probably ever been in my life as an adult. I go up and down stairs. I ride my bike, and Tony and I are doing our very first 5K at the end of the month next Saturday, next Friday. Yeah, it's coming up. We got home. I got home from a full day of work yesterday, 8 hours, came home, and we did a mile around the neighborhood. Guys, it's just been life-changing. Now, I look back at my life and my eating habits, and I realize that I am highly susceptible to addictive foods. I need to know that about myself. I need to be mindful of that. But also, everybody is different. In the Life book, there are 10 questions to help you determine if you are highly susceptible to food addiction. So we're going to take a look at those. If you want to reference this on your own and go back and check it out, go to page 322. If you've got a pencil, something to make a note with, make a note in your phone, count on your fingers, whatever it is, we're going to go through these 10 questions. There are 3 answers. They're the same for each question. They're R for rarely, O for occasionally, D for daily. So just keep track of how many R's, O's, and D's you have. And we'll go through these and see what they say. Number 1. And okay, I'm going to have to stop for just a second because I do need to get this thing off of my screen. Okay, we're going to go back. Okay, number 1, I find it difficult to control how much I eat. All right, rarely, occasionally, or daily. Don't think about it. Just put down the first thing that jumps into your brain. Because we're going to go quick. Number 2, I crash in the afternoons and have trouble waking up in the mornings. Rarely, occasionally, daily. Number 3, I have cravings for specific foods. Rarely, occasionally, daily. I suffer from moodiness, headaches, or fogginess. Rarely, occasionally, daily. All right, halfway through. When I only eat a moderate amount of food, I am not satisfied. Rarely, occasionally, daily. Number 6, I feel guilty after eating. Rarely, occasionally, daily. Number 7, I spend a considerable amount of time thinking about food. Rarely, occasionally, daily. This is a big one. Number 8, I eat even if I am not hungry because I crave a specific food. Rarely, occasionally, daily. Almost done. Number 9, I eat large amounts of food and feel powerless to stop. Rarely, occasionally, or daily. Last one. Number 10, I crave carbohydrates like pasta, bread, white rice, or desserts. Now, count up your answers. If you have more than 6 rarelies, anybody have more than 6 of anything? If you did, either raise your hand or put a Y in the chat to let me know. So if you have more than 6 rarelies, then you may have a low susceptibility towards sugar addiction. There are lots of people who can just stop eating sugar. There are those who cannot. There are some people who can quit smoking cold turkey. There are others who are not. Everybody's built differently. But it's good to know this about yourself. Okay. More than 6 occasionallys, you may have a medium susceptibility to sugar addiction. All right. More than 6 daily. I see some people sharing in the chat that they had 9 out of 10 dailies. Well, then you probably have and are highly susceptible to sugar addiction. So this is something you need to know about yourself, but this is not something that you need to be depressed about. Why? Because there are answers. Go in your life book, page 316, and then Habits of Health, section 2.5 and 235. Dr. A has done the work for us. You go there, you're going to find Dr. A's color-coded shopping system and glycemic index. And this is it here. So he says here, eating low glycemic foods is the best way to lose weight and create health. So we see the scale across the top. Dark green is low glycemic index. The middle green is moderate. Then you're getting up to higher. And then food that you should eat rarely. If you see that red, stay away from it. Now, in the Habits of Health, you have charts on all of the different proteins, all the different vegetables, all laid out like this. This is poultry because this one spoke to me. So I'm looking at that. Turkey breast, great. Chicken breast, we all eat a lot of that, great. We start moving down, and I see turkey sausage. Now, when I was in maintenance last time in my optimal health phase, I ate turkey sausage every day. I shouldn't have done that because I was not aware that it was there, but it's done for us. I didn't know that was a yellow. So I should not have been having that every day. And then the stuff at the end there, just we stay away from that stuff. All right. So that really helps us when we're making our shopping lists and we're figuring out our meal planning. Just go right there to the Habits of Health, done for you. So the next thing is the color chart. That whole section starts, Sharon, on page 235. So they're all in there in that section. There's all kinds of charts there. So the other thing is what we keep coming back to in this, pretty much every element we cover, and we need to maybe just get this tattooed on us. Everybody get matching tattoos. Stop, challenge, and choose. And whenever you are tempted to binge, remember that heavy people are more at risk of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Take that into account every time that you have a cupcake. Reframe your view of food addiction. Realize it's just as serious and as harmful as drug disease, and it can be a decision that you make to change. Need to decide that nothing tastes as good as optimal health feels and stick to it. Now, I get it. That is easy to say, not so easy to do. In fact, for some people, it is impossible. There are some people, probably some here on this call, who struggle with this addiction so mightily that there's been a new phrase coined to describe what they go through. Food noise. Constant ruminations about food, which could contribute to overeating and thus causing us to live with being overweight and obese. It's a real thing. You can look on the internet. It is a shared condition. So the good news again, Optavia is a company that meets people where they are. And we have recently partnered with LifeMD to help people who are using weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy, because these GLP-1s and others like them can be a clinical way that some people are able to reduce the food noise. Now, here is where all of the science we've been talking about comes together. Whether somebody is on the program without the weight loss drugs or they are on the weight loss drugs, but specifically, I'm going to focus on people who are using those drugs because they have tire ruts too, just like us, bad ones. But we've already learned tonight that the brain can heal, but not until it feels safe. So Optavia can provide that safe space So those folks can begin building healthy habits that repair those natural and neural pathways so that when people stop the drugs, and they have to stop the drugs at some point, well, then they won't just put all their weight right back on, but instead they have built healthy habits that are going to stick with them. And we're not just stopping for a while, right? We're changing our lives. Not about weight loss, we're about health gain. That's what this program can do. The other thing, so now some of us have learned a lot about ourselves tonight. So somebody says that Daryl was saying that this gives her great hope, and that's so awesome to see. But we have a lot of information now. But the team motto for TNT, it's on our business cards, it's everywhere, is that nothing changes if nothing changes. So much has been done for you. You have Dr. A and the Habits of Health, the Life Book, your coach, Nancy, your community that we've built here. But you have to be the one to make the change. You have to do the work. As I said last time, you've been led to water, you old horse. It's time to take a drink. Thanks for your attention tonight. If you have any questions, contact your coach or the person who invited you here tonight, and I'm sure they'll be able to get you that info. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Thom. That was such great information. Appreciate that so much. And it really gives me such an appreciation for our system all over again, because we have all the goods, all the components necessary, the accountability of a coach, like you said. And it's really easy to hide from a coach when you're not real proud of yourself. Pick up the phone. That's why you call your coach. So stay connected that way with the accountability. Really do the deep dive in the books. Invest in yourself. You've come this far. Keep really working through the book. It helps you change your head and your habits long term. Stay plugged in with the community. I'm so glad you're here tonight or listening to the recording. It's so important to surround yourself with like-minded people. And of course, staying true to whichever structured food plan is appropriate for you. That gets you the results. And I'm going to say one more thing. You know, we got the 4 legs of the chair. The backrest of the chair is improving your surroundings by coaching, having a coach community as well. It's like doubling your support when you become a coach. It really has helped me, a recovered sugar addict, a closet binge eater. It has really helped me keep my weight off, and we're coming up on 12 years next month. So just remember all these components, and are you missing some? That'll make such a difference. So thanks again, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night. And thanks again, Thom. Really appreciate you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.